All right, so let's continue. Can the person relate ideas effortlessly in an organized manner? In fluency and content, it's very important for you to know when to stop. You have to know and establish the parameters of your answers para maiwasan natin yung pagiging off-topic or yung maraming paligoy-ligoy or yung TMI, which is too much information. So, one question, one answer, 2 to 3 sentences, or pwede rin naman 2 to 4 sentences per question. But you have to make sure that your answer has to be relevant to the topic or to the question. Hindi pwedeng I asked you what your name is and then dadagdagan mo na agad ng I am 32 years old, I'm married, and I have 4 children. Ang tanong lang naman is, can you please tell me your name or can you please tell me your complete name? So you have to make sure that you listen carefully to the question kasi hindi naman pwedeng ang tinatanong ko lang sa'yo or ni examiner sa'yo is your name and then nag-add ka pa ng information na hindi na naka-align dun sa tanong. Okay? So for example, the examiner also asked you about your career. Tell me more about your job experiences. So, syempre, minsan, sa sobrang dami nating ideas, you can start talking about extra details that are unnecessary. Ang kailangan lang naman ni examiner malaman kung ano yung, paano mo sasagutin yung tanong na yon. So, if the question is, tell me about your job experiences, you can simply say, for me, I'm gonna answer things such as what course did I get, what bachelor's degree I got, how long I've been working, and why do I like that job. Yun lang. Okay? Wag na yung intricate details such as gantong date ako pumasa, gantong date ako graduate. Alright? Unnecessary na yon. So, just focus. So, let's say the examiner asks you, can you talk to me about your job experience? Since I've graduated with a bachelor's degree in Bachelor of Arts in English, I have become an English instructor and I've been teaching for more than 8 years now. I love my job because I have the chance to interact with different students from different walks in life and different countries such as Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, and China. I love getting to know different people, and one of the perks of my job is definitely to touch lives and to create an impact because I don't only teach them English, but I also help them improve themselves and motivate them to never give up on their goals and dreams. Ganun lang, okay? Hindi siya TMI, right? Like, may iba kasi ang isasagot pa, I graduated as cum laude. And then it took me 4 months to take my review and I passed my licensure examination on this date, blah, 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 blah. It's too long and it's unnecessary. Just focus on the important points, okay? That's how you make your answers cohesive. Okay. Grammatical range and accuracy. Now I have some good news. In speaking, grammar is not as important as it is in writing. I want to emphasize that it's not as important as it is in writing, but I'm not saying that it's not important. It's still important. Grammar is still important because if you accumulate a lot of grammatical mistakes, definitely it will be a big liability in your speaking subtest. But the examiners are actually very considerate when it comes to grammar. You don't have to be perfect in grammar as long as you deliver your sentences in a lengthy manner, complete sentences, and you answer the questions straight to the point. Okay? And they can examiners can actually be very considerate in terms of preposition mistakes, pronoun mistakes. It's okay. The thing is, wag kang masyadong maging conscious sa grammar mo because it can prevent you from becoming spontaneous and expressive. Kasi masyado mong iniisip, tama ba tong pag-construct ko ng sentence na to? Tama ba yung ginamit kong verb tense? Okay? Because actually, grammar, hindi naman yan sobrang mapapansin through the speaking test. Mas detrimental ang grammar pagdating sa writing test because in your writing test, you are leaving evidences, written evidence, such as punctuation markers, spacing or capitalization errors, all that. You can easily leave those kinds of evidences in your writing test. Okay? However, in English, in the speaking test, grammar is not something that you should be so conscious about. All right. As long as you speak in complete and accurate sentences, definitely you can pass your IELTS. Wag sasagot ng isang word lang or isang phrase lang. And of course, make sure to always aim to expound, reason out, give reasons. Always answer the question why. So sa isip mo laging may why at kailangan mo laging sagutin yun. For example, the question is, what's your favorite hobby? My favorite hobby is painting. Sa isip mo, why? Why painting? Okay, so sasagutin mo siya. I love painting because for me, it's a very relaxing and therapeutic activity. I am a very artistic person and I like to express my artistic side through painting. I am not a professional painter. I consider myself amateur and I don't collect any commissions. I don't accept any commissions. I just do it as my pastime activity. Ganun lang, okay? So you always have to answer the question why? Why is it your favorite? Why do you like it? Why do you prefer this type of music above the others, right? What's your favorite type of music? What kind of genre are you into? I'm into K-pop music. I've learned to love the K-pop culture and the K-pop artists ever since I was 25 years old. It all started with my fangirling moment when I watched Blackpink performance on YouTube. They were absolutely amazing, and the way that they carry themselves is something that I really look up to. And aside from that, the music that they create is very inspiring and uplifting. Ah, 'di ba? You're very conversational, it sounds interesting, it sounds genuine, and it sounds like you really know about something you like. All right? Next, grading criteria is vocabulary and lexical resource. Vocabulary is the foundation of a language. If you do not have a rich vocabulary bank, most probably you can't understand what the speaker or the examiner is saying. So, very important ang vocabulary pati sa listening. Kasi if you don't have a good vocabulary bank, then definitely you won't understand what the person you're talking to is saying. So, very important din yan sa listening mo. Sa reading, most especially. Reading examinations in IELTS are the most horrific ones. We all know that. The level of difficulty in reading examinations in IELTS is really intimidating. Even me as an instructor, even if I'm an English major, hindi rin ako confident sa reading ko sa IELTS because definitely ibang level siya. And vocabulary plays a big role. Now, in speaking, vocabulary is very important as well because one of the causes of so many pauses and so many delayed responses is definitely because you can't come up with the right word. Ma'am, nasa dulo ng dila ko eh. Like, naiisip ko pero hindi ko masabi. Most of the students, ganun yung feedback. Tama ba? Okay, let me ask some of you. I want to ask Jeremy Van or JV. All right, JV, can you please unmute your microphone?
Hey, ma'am. Hey, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
All right. How about Liz Ann? Liz Ann? Or probably I have to click ask to unmute. Do we have any other participants who would like to answer? Mic problem. Ah, yeah, okay. It's okay. You can respond to me here, JV. So, during our one-on-one coaching last week, did you have any experience that you were having struggles with your vocabulary? And why did you struggle on that part? You can answer it on the chat thread. Let me repeat my question, JV. In your previous or your first mock interview last week, did you struggle with your vocabulary? Actually, yes, ma'am. More like because I am nervous because it's my first time. Okay, yes. So, nervousness, thank you so much, JV, for answering. So, nervousness will actually make you have limited vocabulary. Although, meron ka naman good amount of vocabulary words in your vocabulary bank. But because of nervousness, it can stop you from remembering what to say. That's why we are encouraging you to attend at least 10 coaching sessions before you take your exam so that you will learn how to anticipate the questions that will come out in the interview. By the way, we will provide a PDF file, not just one pala. There are 2 PDF files that I'll be sending or attaching with this replay lecture today. So, on your free time, basahin ninyo yung PDF file para ma-familiarize kayong lahat sa mga tanong na posibleng lumabas during the interview. That way, mapaghahandaan ninyo yung vocabulary ninyo. Para, alam mo yun, pag may nabasa ka doon na, which book is your favorite? Isa sa mga task cards yon. De syempre, you have to know what are the words that are associated with reading books. Okay? Or another question could be, What is a hobby that you had when you were a kid? Kung tatanungin kita nung tanong na yun right now, hindi mo agad maaalala lahat ng gusto mong sabihin. Kasi ang tagal na nun, childhood pa yun, right? Pero if binasa mo in advance yung mga questions, PDF files na sinasend namin sa inyo, then most probably, alam mo na, may maiisip ka na agad na idea. Right? So, pastime activity when you were a kid. Marami yan. So, filter your answers. And make sure na yung sagot na na isasagot mo, it can lead to giving a good answer or speech. Kasi may mga sagot na Chinese garter. Ang hirap i-explain nun, right? Hobby that you had when you were a kid, playing Chinese garter. Sige nga, explain natin. What is the mechanics of that game? So, to play Chinese garter, you need a minimum of 3 players. 2 players will be holding a large or very long elastic band. The third player is supposed to be able to achieve all the exhibitions in the Chinese garter game. Paano mo nga i-explain kung walang alam si examiner about Chinese garter? Right? Kaya ikaw, pipiliin mo kung anong isasagot mo. So, i-X mo na yung Chinese garter na yon. Isip ka na lang ng ibang hobby na ginagawa mo nung bata ka na madaling i-explain. Okay? What if I say that my hobby when I was a kid is baking? Mas madaling i-explain yun ngayon, right? Do you get my point? So, if I say that baking is my favorite hobby, then the words and the sentences will come naturally. Hindi ako magsa-struggle. Why? Because it's easier to explain baking than explaining Chinese garter. Right? Do you get my point, guys? So let's say I say, okay, let's say my answer is baking. All right. When I was a kid, my mom would always ask me to accompany her when she's baking brownies or any cake because my mom loves to bake and she's actually good at it. One thing that she did not allow me to touch is the oven because of course as a kid I didn't know how to operate an oven and it wouldn't be safe for me to do that. So she just let me do the simple things in baking such as adding the ingredients in a bowl. And my favorite part is the test tasting part wherein the product or the pastry is already made and I get to taste it for the first time. O, diba? Mas madali siyang i-explain kaysa sa Chinese garter. Okay, so another trick or not a trick, it's a strategy, a technique. Um, Kasi baka mag-assume kayo pag sinabing kailangan yung i-improve ang vocabulary ninyo, you might be assuming, ma'am, kailangan ko bang i-memorize lahat ng words sa dictionary? Do I have to memorize all the words in the dictionary? That's gonna take you ages. And that's something na hindi mo sisimulan for sure. Pag sinabihan kitang, start reading the whole dictionary. Anong impression sa'yo nun? What? Ano? Nakakatamad yun. Hindi ko kaya yun. Learn 2 to 3 words a day. Ma'am, next month na yung exam ko. If I learn 2 to 3 words a day, that's just 60 words. 60 to 90 words. 60 to 90 words only. So, hindi kayo matutuwa pag sinabi ko sa inyong i-memorize nyo yung buong dictionary just for you to improve your vocabulary. It's doable naman. But then, most of us don't like the idea of doing that anymore. because we are used to instant things such as click anything on your computer, on your tablet, on your phone, and everything is there. Instant. Wala na tayo sa culture or tradition in the past na uupo ka, mag-aaral ka ng dictionary. Hindi na ganon. That's why what you're gonna do is in order for you to prepare for your interview is familiarization on the flow of the exam. So you do know for a fact that on task 1, all the questions are going to be about you, about your family, about your major or your future career path or your career right now, yung job mo right now. It's gonna ask you about your favorites, your likes and dislikes, hobbies, anything under the sun about you. So kung alam mo na yun yung direction ng mga questions sa task 1, kailangan i-familiarize mo na yung sarili mo sa mga vocabulary words in cluster form. Okay? Cluster meaning if you're going to talk about your hobbies, ano ba yung mga hobbies ko? Let's say my hobby is traveling. It means I have to learn words related to traveling. I have to be familiar with English words related to traveling, such as booking an accommodation, booking a reservation, planning an itinerary, going abroad, out of the country, traveling local places, tourist attractions, vacation at the beach. I want a beachfront resort. I'd prefer a hotel accommodation. All the words related to traveling, which is your chosen hobby, yun yung mga kailangan mong aralin. Kasi na-anticipate mo na yung mga tanong is going to be about you. That's why, ang aaralin mo na lang ngayon ay cluster words. You don't need to learn everything on the dictionary anymore. Do you get my point? Is it clear? Should I give another example? Okay. Am I sharing my screen? Yeah, I'm sharing, right? Okay, so another example is, do you like listening to music? What genre are you into? Or what type of music do you like listening to? The type of music that I like listening to is rock music. I love rock bands. So ang tanong, are you going to mention Filipino or local rock bands? Pwede naman. It's possible. It's acceptable. But the thing is, may nag-text sa akin. Okay. So, going back to our topic, which is the type of music, okay? If you mention a local band, let's say Parokya ni Edgar, Kamikaze, Cushe, Silent Sanctuary, the thing is, you're not letting the examiner picture out what you're talking about because it's not a relatable answer. They don't know anything about that band. So you will end up describing it. Silent Sanctuary is a popular Filipino band in the early 2000s. Back then, I was a high school student and they became really popular. Up until this very moment, they are still very popular. Why? They're very popular because of their very heartfelt lyrics and harmonious melody. O di ba ang hirap i-explain kapag nag-mention ka pa ng local artists. But if you mention international artists such as Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, Celine Dion, Tina Turner, Westlife, Backstreet Boys, di ba? Konting explanation na lang because it rings a bell to the examiner because they are internationally known. If I say, actually, when I was younger, I was really into boy bands. And my favorite boy band back then was Westlife and Backstreet Boys. I love their music, very upbeat and easy to sing along with. Ah, 'di ba? Hindi man lang ako nag-struggle sa pag-explain ng Westlife tsaka Backstreet Boys because ganun lang kadali kapag international artists ang i-mention natin. Again, the vocabulary clusters that you have to know about music or your favorite artist. Upbeat music, slow music, the rhythm, the melody, harmonious. Ganon, okay? So you have to be familiar with those words. Okay? Okay, does this person have the ability to adjust her vocabulary according to the person she or he is talking to? Of course, you're talking to the examiner. You have to make sure that you're using academically inclined vocabulary words. Kaya minsan, sinasabihan ko yung mga students ko, alright, you were able to use correct words. However, we need to level it up a little bit. Level it up a bit. So instead of saying, uh, teka lang. I'll check my notes pala. Okay, so instead of saying, my family likes to go to the beach when we have free time. So instead of using that simple vocabulary, you can you can easily say, my family loves a mini reunion, a fun get together at the beach to be as our to be a leisure activity for us. 'Di ba? Medyo maganda pakinggan pag ni-level up mo ng konti yung vocabulary words mo. But again, wag naman sobra-sobra like highfalutin words kasi baka hindi siya akma sa level mo. If you are an advanced speaker, it's okay to use complex vocabulary. But if you are only an intermediate level student speaker, please don't opt for highfalutin words because baka mamaya ma-misuse mo lang siya at mabawasan ka pa ng points sa vocabulary mo. Okay? Don't speak in Filipino. Yung mga nagsasabi ng po, hindi na po kailangan yun. Alright? And then, Filipino words such as comfort room. Okay? CR, hindi po siya accepted in English. You should say bathroom, washroom, okay? Toilet. Does this person have the tendency to translate Filipino into English? Yes. Iwasan po natin yon. Think in English so that you can answer in English as well. Pronunciation and delivery. This is the last one that we're going to talk about. Does the pronunciation of the person hinder effective communication? Pronunciation is very, very important when it comes to your IELTS speaking test because your pronunciation can affect the way the examiner understands what you're saying. Yung mga simpleng strong long vowel sounds na ginawa mong short vowel sounds, it can already alter the meaning of the word. For example, yung word na um, bitch and beach, right? Baka mamaya magalit pa sa'yo si examiner. Appropriate stress on words. It's very important to know where to stress, which syllable to stress. Because there are words such as progress. Nag-iiba yung stress niya, nag-iiba rin yung meaning niya. Progress, yung first syllable ang stress sa word na progress, it's a noun. But if I use the word progress, it becomes a verb. Same as record and record. A record and record. Diba? Yung record, yun yung noun. Record is the verb. Address, address. Your address is where you live. To address something means to talk about an issue. Okay? So that's why it's very important for you to apply proper stress on words. Okay. Next is, do they have a glide? Is it consistently heard? Okay, so let me explain this in a little more intricate way. So, in English, mapapansin nyo if a person is speaking native-like is when they already omit certain consonants and they have a glide. All right? For example, I want to be able to travel the world. I'm not stressing on every syllable and sound that it has, right? I said, I want to be able to travel the world. That's a glide. I want, kung hindi ko siya, kung i-stress ko bawat syllable, I want to be able to travel the world. I want to be able to travel the world. Magkaiba yon. See the difference? So, if you have a glide, it's good because it means that you sound more natural and native-like. Do they maintain consistent volume throughout the conversation? All right, it's very important for you to be audible, especially if you're not taking the computer-based interview. Sa computer-based interview, may advantage kayo because you have a headset which has headphones and a microphone. Meaning, kahit anong hina ng boses mo, rinig na rinig ka pa rin. But then, wag naman sobrang hina to the point na hindi na talaga maintindihan ni examiner yung sinasabi mo. Okay? You have to still make sure that you're audible enough. That's why, before you take the exam, make sure that your vocal condition is healthy. Wag muna mag-videoke or i-exhaust yung vocal cords before you take the exam. Actually, ngayon medyo namamalat na nga ako because bakit nga ba ako minamalat? I feel like I'm not hydrated properly since I told you guys that I was not feeling well for the past few days. So medyo minamalat na ako. So yon, you have to make sure that your voice quality is really good because if it's not, definitely you could have minus points on your pronunciation and delivery. Now, let me talk about delivery. Wag yung tingin ng tingin kung saan-saan, alright? Yung examiner ninyo, nasa harapan ninyo. There's a camera. You look at the camera. Okay? Kasi, medyo nasa taas yung camera. Pero baka malito ka kasi, eto ko. 'Di ba? Nilagay ko yung sarili ko dito. So, si examiner, nandito siya. So, if nakatingin ka dyan, your eyes look like you're looking on the right side. But if I look at the camera, it's like I'm talking to the person face to face, right? So just look at the camera while you're talking. It makes you look like you're really eager and concentrated. Eye contact is very important because you show your genuine self when you're creating eye contact. Wag yung tingin ng tingin kung saan-saan. Alam ko, yung room, marami siyang corners. At minsan, kapag hindi tayo confident kung saan-saan tayo napapatingin. But then, you have to make sure that you are looking eye to eye with the examiner. Hindi ko naman sinabing titigan mo siya. Pwede ka naman mag-glance sa papel or anywhere else on the screen. What I'm saying is just establish a good eye contact because it will help you seem more genuine and sincere during the interview. Okay? And it's also very important not to slouch. Wag din maghalokip-kip. Halokip-kip ba tawag pag crossed arms? Yun ba yung Tagalog nun? Wag ganito because it makes you look like you're arrogant. Okay? So, be confident, have a straight body, and yung sinabi ko sa inyong trick, mag-invest kayo sa blazer na may ganitong cut ng shoulder para kahit naka-slouch ka, hindi halata, right? Mga ganyang tricks talaga. All right. Let's take a look at the speaking subtest overview. So on task 1, you will be asked personal answers. Ideas coming more from personal experiences and opinions about the topic being discussed. Yes, you can talk about personal experiences. Actually, it's recommended because when you start talking about your personal experiences, ideas come naturally. Intellectual answers. I don't want you to feel intimidated when you hear the word intellectual because the speaking test is not an intellectual test. It's not an it's an intellectual test, sorry. It's not an intelligence-based test. That's what I mean. What I mean by that is hindi naman binabase lang sa talino ng sagot mo yung magiging score mo, okay? This speaking test is an assessment of how well you can express yourself in English language. So, kung magkaroon man ng opportunity or isang tanong sa task 3 na hindi mo talaga alam sagutin or wala kang alam, hindi ka knowledgeable about that specific topic, instead of you trying to answer the question and then you will end up making a lot of grammatical errors, you will end up misusing vocabulary words. At saka, yung mga examiner, halata nila if ever alam mo yung sinasabi mo at hindi. Right? I mean, hindi lang naman examiner, you as a person, alam mo, you can feel it if a person is just making up things or inventing something just to get away with it, right? So it's much better if you're not confident with the answer, just simply say, I want to be honest. I am not knowledgeable about that specific issue, but rest assured, as soon as I get home, I will do my research and learn about it. Ganun lang. It sounds professional, it sounds humble, and it sounds very, what do you call this? Para sa akin kasi, if aaminin mo sa akin na hindi mo alam yung issue, mas mabibilib pa nga ako sa'yo. Because you accepted your weakness. Okay? Kesa naman, pilitin mo yung sarili mo sagutin yung issue, pero mali-mali naman yung sinasabi mo. Right? And it happened. It already happened several times with our test takers. After the speaking test, nandun pa kasi ako sa review center that time. So, pinuntahan niya ako. Sabi niya, ma'am, I feel intimidated by the questions asked to me during the interview because there was this specific question that I didn't know how to answer. But then I just said that I don't know anything, I don't know much about that topic. And I was just honest about not knowing about that topic. So when I heard that from him, I said, okay, well, you don't have anything to worry about. You're still going to get a passing score on your speaking test because it's not about you answering all the questions correctly, but about how you delivered your thoughts. Okay? So, after 24 hours, we got to find out his results and he got an 8.5 in the speaking test. Ah, di ba? But it doesn't mean hindi mo paghahandaan. I'm not saying na hindi mo kailangan paghandaan. Yes, you still have to prepare for it. And the only way for you to do that is to keep reading, educating yourself. Wala ka nang mabibigay sa akin any excuse because everything can be found with a click or anything can be found on the internet. If you want to watch replays of some podcasts or media media topics, you can watch it on YouTube. There are so many streaming platforms nowadays. All you need to do is be intentional in learning. Newspapers, magazines, hindi ko naman na yan masyadong nare-recommend kasi nga sa ngayon hindi na how can practical. Hindi na practical bumili ng newspaper because after a day, that specific article is not relevant anymore. May panibago ng balita, right? Or sa magazines naman, pwede rin, pero ang mahal ng magazines nowadays, ha? Basta may Instagram ka, updated ka na sa buhay ng mga artista. So, hindi mo na kailangan gumastos. Everything can be found at your devices, in your devices. So, yeah. If there's a will, there's a way. So, kayo na to. I'm giving you tips and strategies. All you have to do is follow them. Types of speeches. We have memorized, extemporaneous, and impromptu. When we say memorized, I'm not saying you have to memorize anything. You should not memorize anything. But the only thing that you have to know heart by heart is the name of your companies, yung mga pinagtrabahuhan ninyo, or the name of the university that you've been to. Alangan naman tinanong ka kung saan ka nag-aral, mamali ka pa, right? Yung names ng people that you want to talk about, you have to memorize those things, okay? Extemporaneous speech naman, ito yung mangyayari sa task 2 because extempo speech is you have little time of preparation and then after preparation, you will be given 2 minutes to speak. So yun yung extempo speech. And then we have impromptu. When we say impromptu, wala ka ng time to think or you don't really have extra time to prepare. You have to answer the question directly. This is applicable on task 3. So we have speech variations. We have informative, persuasive, and demonstration speech. Informative speech, these are full of facts and figures. Persuasive speech, when you are encountering questions such as, do you agree? Do you disagree? And then give your opinion about it. And of course, supporting ideas on how to make your content more persuasive. Demonstration speech. This is an instructional technique. This is used when you're asked questions such as describe your home, describe your hometown, talk about your neighborhood. So dapat magaling ka sa demonstration speech, such as first you're going to talk about the exterior of your house and then start talking about the interior of your house. All right? So you have to be familiar with these kinds of speeches. Okay, let's talk about confidence. Confidence is key because sometimes all you have to do is fake it till you make it. All right? How are you going to do that? Maintain a positive demeanor in the interview by smiling. Okay? A smile will definitely make you look confident. Okay. And of course, you have to know what you're talking about. So, again, on your first speech, on your first mock test, hindi ka muna confident, and that's understandable. You're not yet confident to express your thoughts because you lack familiarity. But as soon as you progress to your eighth coaching session or 10th coaching session, I know that magkakaroon na ng difference sa confidence ninyo. Okay? And of course, another way for you to boost your confidence is words of affirmation. I'm hoping na kapag nagkakaroon tayo ng one-on-one coaching, nakakatulong ako sa part na yon. Although, many of the students are giving me feedback and telling me, Ma'am, sobrang nakakatulong po yung one-on-one coaching natin, na-boost talaga yung confidence ko. Bukod sa marami akong natutunan na techniques, na-boost mo talaga yung confidence ko. That's what they repeatedly say whenever I have a one-on-one coaching with them. Na I feel really good about. I really feel good about because yun naman talaga yung goal ko as a person. I feel like that's my purpose in life to motivate students because I'm a very motivated person and I can say that I'm confident. I'm a confident person. I mean, I wouldn't have this job if I'm not confident, right? But of course, I would what are the ways or what are the reasons why I would not be confident? First of all, I would not be confident if I don't look good. What I mean is, kung hindi ako nag-aayos, alright? So for example, if I'm not wearing makeup right now, if my hair is not looking good, if I'm not wearing presentable clothes, I would not be confident. Alright? If I did not study my lecture, I would not be confident. Okay? So those are the factors why I wouldn't be confident. That's why preparation is key. I have to prepare for my lectures in order for me to appear confident. So same like you. You have to prepare for your interview. You have to make sure that you look good, you look presentable. You have already gone through 10 coaching sessions with either me or Sir Kevin. And definitely, you have to prepare by reading all the questions in the PDF files that we will be providing. You can prepare by educating yourself with intellectual materials that you can find online from YouTube, from news articles. Yung minention ko last Saturday, engu.com, and then um, reading and being updated with news. Another way for you to be prepared is to make sure that you're improving and you're practicing your English skills, right? Okay, so those are the ways on how you can be confident by preparing. Do you have any questions? Lunchtime na. Are you guys eating lunch? I think you can do that simultaneously while listening to me. All right. These are some extra tips. Tip number one is relax. One way for you to relax is to take deep breaths, give yourself positive affirming messages, Clench invisible muscles such as thighs, biceps, feet for a few seconds, then release. So, clench means you're giving. Clench is the opposite of relax, okay? So, if my hands are relaxed, ganyan siya. But if I clench my fist, I'm forcing it into a fist shape, okay? So, clenching means you are moving your muscles in a way that parang I think you get my point, right? Yeah. So, affirming messages. How can you give yourself affirming messages? When you wake up in the morning, look into the mirror and look at yourself, talk to yourself, give yourself some affirming messages. Kung yung mga tao sa bahay nyo, hindi ganon, do it to yourself na lang, okay? We can't really expect much from others. And if we expect much from others, we get disappointed anyways. So much better to give yourself a positive affirming message, such as I'll pass the exam. I am intelligent. I am confident. People like me because I'm a genuine person. Yung mga ganong words of affirmation, akala mo lang walang effect, but it actually gives a really big impact in the way you execute a task. All right? It's all in the mind. If you have a good mindset on things, then it will manifest in your words, in your actions, in your life. Okay? So always remember to have positive, affirming messages to yourself. If other people can't do it for you, do it for yourself. Okay? And take deep breaths. Ito, very helpful to, I know, because sometimes when I palpitate, what I do is I hold my breath, I inhale, and I hold my breath for 4 seconds and slowly exhale. Kumakalma ako pag ganon. So I think it's a very effective trick or technique on how you can relax. And of course, you can shift your emotions from being extra nervous to excited. I've done that many times and it works for me. So hopefully it will work for you as well. Listen. Tip number 2, listen. It's very important to have laser focus, not only in the listening test, in the reading test, writing test, but definitely even in the speaking test. Because if you misheard what the examiner said, then definitely mali din yung pagsagot mo. Misinterpretation of the question can lead to wrong answers. That's why if you have the slightest doubt na hindi mo naintindihan yung tanong on the very first time na tinanong ni examiner, ask for repetition. Pero wag naman yung OA like, can you tell me your name? Syempre, yun, magigets mo na agad yun. Alam mo sabihin mo bang, can you please repeat the question? Medyo nakakaasar na yun sa part ni examiner, okay? Siguro sa task 3, dun mo talaga magagamit yung can you please repeat the question? Kasi kailangan i-make sure mo that you fully understand what the question is. And kung hindi mo siya naintindihan on the first time na tinanong sa'yo ni examiner yung tanong, maaring maintindihan mo siya sa pangalawang question. So for example, the topic is about hotel bookings. Do you prefer booking an Airbnb? Oh, hindi. Sorry. Wait, hindi Airbnb yung ginamit na term eh. Ang ginamit na term ay um self-catering accommodation. Self-catering accommodation. Okay? Do you prefer booking a self-catering accommodation or a hotel booking? So ano yung pagkakaiba? Pag sinabing self-catering accommodation, ito yung mga Airbnb na nagpa-provide ng kitchenware, kitchen equipment, you cook for yourself, and everything that you need is there. There's a kitchen, there's a living area, there's a room, bathroom. Unlike a hotel, you call for room service. 'Di ba? You just order the food and the food will arrive at your doorstep. Yun yung pagkakaiba ng hotel at saka ng self-catering accommodation. Ang mga Pinoy, mahilig tayo sa self-catering accommodation. Tama ba? Pero yung iba din naman sa atin, I know for a fact that you've experienced hotel accommodation. So, you have to also know about those things kasi isa yun sa mga pwedeng lumabas sa interview, okay? So, let's say the question was about if you were to book a hotel accommodation which has negative reviews online, would you give it a chance or would you be affected by the negative comments and feedback on their website? So sa una, medyo complicated pakinggan yung tanong, no? So that's when you say, can you please repeat the question? Kasi baka sakali sa pangalawa niyang pagtanong, mas maintindihan mo. If you were to book a hotel accommodation, however, you read several negative comments on their website, do you think you would still book that hotel or would you be affected by the negative comments that you read? O di ba? Nung pangalawa kong sinabi yung tanong, mas nalinawan kayo or mas naintindihan ninyo. Right? Okay. Have the question repeated. Of course, courtesy matters. So, hindi mo sasabihin, sorry, what? Hindi ganun ah. Again? Hindi din ganon. Again, please? These ways of asking are very inappropriate. They don't sound professional and they actually sound rude. Okay? So, the correct way is I'm sorry. I didn't understand. Or no, I didn't hear it properly. Could you please repeat the question? Wag din yung pardon. Pardon me. It's informal to use it, so don't use that. You can also say, you can just simply say, okay. So, ayan yung mga tamang ways on how you will ask for repetition. All right? Use stall tactics. Don't just blurt out the first thing that comes to your mind. Narrow your focus. This brings the question down to a manageable scope. Use background statements to your advantage. All right. So, pag naririnig mo pa lang yung mga keywords na sinasabi niya sa tanong, kailangan meron ka ng generate na idea sa utak mo. All right? So, if I talk about my favorite hobby, which is Chinese garter, will I be able to explain it well? X na yon. If I talk about that my favorite hobby is snorkeling, will I be able to talk about it in a good way? Medyo alanganin, so X na yon. If I talk about cooking as my favorite hobby, will I be able to explain it well? Check. So yun na. Ifi-filter mo, kailangan ifi-filter mo yung mga ideas mo. Hindi pwedeng kung ano lang yung una mong naisip, yun na agad. Alright? Stick to one point and one supporting piece of information. This tip is applicable you are when you're experiencing when you are given agree or disagree questions. Do you agree that blah blah blah? Do you disagree that blah blah blah? So, wag halo-halo yung sagot. Kailangan panindigan mo if you agree, panindigan mo if you disagree. You will first give a direct answer. Yes, I agree. And then reason out. And then give examples. Hindi pwedeng, ang dami mong sinabi, tapos sa dulo mo sasabihin, I agree, I disagree. Hindi ganun yung tamang paraan, okay? You have to state first what is your side and stick to it. Parang sa relasyon lang yan, stick to one. Okay? Sino dito yung mga nabobombard ng mga cheating issues nowadays sa social media? Grabe, no? I actually think that it's fabricated. Sino dito na nakakasubaybay dun sa Meiko Montefalco issue? I don't even know how to pronounce her name. Pero siya kasi nakikita ko sa newsfeed ko nowadays eh. I really think it's fabricated. Napaka-OA, right? But anyways, all right, so on task one, you have to remember that first impressions last. So whether the examiner looks friendly or not, you have to make sure that you build a good rapport with the examiner. Smile, look kind and friendly. Okay? Sabi sa akin ng mga nag-test, Ma'am, tama ka. Ngumiti lang ako all throughout the exam. Kaya pala nakakuha ako ng band 6, band 7. Yes, first impressions last. So let me share with you the experience that I had with the examiner. Okay, so hang on. So sabi sa akin ni examiner, show me your ID. Yun yung una niyang sinabi. Very poker face. Ang una kong na-send sa kanya, masungit. At totoo ngang masungit nga siya. Because consistent siya buong interview. From the beginning to the start, from the beginning to the end of the interview, sobrang consistent niya sa pagiging masungit. But, I didn't let that affect me. Ngumiti pa rin ako buong interview. So, di ba medyo malayo kasi yung monitor sa upuan ni test taker? Kung nakapunta na kayo sa speaking room, makikita nyo kung paano yung setup doon. And I think some of you were able to enter the speaking room in Cabanatuan City because doon ako nag-conduct ng one-on-one coaching last Thursday. So sabi niya sa akin, show me your ID. So from where I was sitting, na isang di pa ang layo sa computer, gumanon ako. Tinaas kong ganon yung passport ko. And then, sabi niya sa akin, I can't see it from there. Sabi, sabi ko, oh my God, oo nga, hindi ko naisip yun. Siyempre, kinakabahan din ako kahit paano, right? So, what I did is, oh yeah, sure, okay, I'll come closer. Gumanon lang ako. And then, I presented my passport. Close enough so that she can see it. So, ganun lang, guys. Pag masungit, hayaan nyo lang magsungit. But, basta kayo, smile lang, positive vibes lang, okay? Sumakto yung mukha ko dito. Tingnan mo, oh. Parang ako yung nakatayo dito. Okay. So, know what to expect. Task 1 questions will revolve around you. What is your name? Are you working or are you studying? Hi, good afternoon. My name is Shannon Estino. You can call me Shan for short, as my friends call me Shan. Pwede rin namang, hi, my name is Shannon Estino. Nice to meet you. All right. Are you working or are you studying? I'm currently working. In fact, I'm juggling two different jobs, and I enjoy both of them because they both jobs help me interact with people. And I think that is one of the talents or skills that I have developed throughout the years, interacting with people and helping them boost their confidence in our classes. Do you live in a house or in an apartment? I live in a house. It's a two-story house, and we have four bedrooms and two living areas. And then, maghintay ka lang ng follow-up question. All right? Kasi ang tanong lang naman, do you live in a house or in an apartment? So, pwede ka din magbigay ng general information such as what I said. It's a two-story house. There are four bedrooms and two living areas. And ang follow-up question niya, what do you think is the best feature of your home? So, ang sagot ko naman, the best feature of our home is our plants, indoor plants. My mom was able to keep healthy several indoor plants, and I think it adds to the aesthetic visuals of our home. And not only that, it's also beneficial for our health since it's a good source of oxygen. Yanan, okay? Kailangan machika ka talaga. Likes and dislikes, past experiences, present condition, future plans. Be sure that you use the correct verbs, verb tenses. Hobbies and interests, those questions will be asked as well. Know the following facts about yourself. Name, work, residence. Okay, sa pagdating sa residence, guys, hindi naman na kailangang sabihin yung address natin, ha? Because wala namang alam si examiner tungkol sa lugar nyo or places dito sa Philippines. You have to assume that you're talking to someone who knows nothing about Philippines, nothing about your culture. So kahit nabanggitin mo na tagang-Bungabon ka, wala din naman yun sense for the examiner. You can simply say, I live in the countryside, if you live in the countryside. If you live in a city, you can say that you live in a city. All right? And add a few details about it. Okay? In my case, I would say I'm I'm from a semi Teka lang. Let me compose my thoughts. Di pa kasi ako kumakain, guys. So, sorry. Okay, so you can probably say my hometown is located in the country area of the Philippines, but I am proud of my hometown since it's a semi-urbanized and semi-city because urbanized. It's semi-countryside and semi-city since we are slowly progressing into a civilized community. Mga ganun lang, okay? Or probably you can say, I live in the countryside. Our place is popular because of our rice fields. And definitely, this province is a great source of vegetables, crops, and rice. Ganun lang. Or kung ano man yung pinaka-highlight ng lugar ninyo. Shopping. Do you prefer online shopping or mall shopping? If you do so, Why? Why do you prefer online shopping over mall shopping or vice versa? Why do you prefer mall shopping over online shopping? Leisure activities such as things that you do on your free time. Time spent on the internet, your pets, your favorites. So, don't worry, don't take a screenshot already. Baka mamaya awkward yung pause ko dun sa screenshot. This material will be provided and attached after this lecture. So, wag na kayo mag-screenshot. So, about you, your studies. Don't mention that you're studying IELTS, okay? Because if you mention that you're studying IELTS, si examiner, mag-a-assume siya na kaya mong mag-handle ng very difficult types of questions. So you're just gonna put yourself in a severely bad situation. Okay? You have to know questions about work, be familiarized with these, your town, free time, holidays, places to go in your free time, transport, shopping, neighborhood, sports and games, reading. So, depende sa sagot mo kung gaano karaming tanong ang itatanong sa'yo sa task 1. If mahaba yung mga sagot mo, 3 to 5 different questions lang ang itatanong niya. Pero kung maiksi yung sagot mo, baka umabot ng 10 questions. Kaya, habaan mo na yung mga sagot mo, okay? So, on task 2, you will be asked to talk about a certain topic. Okay, teka lang. I'll just turn off my camera quickly. Just need to stand up. Nangangawit na kasi ako, guys. I've been sitting for quite a while. Okay, so on task 2, you will be asked to talk about a certain topic. There will be some questions, outline questions, guide questions about the topic that you must answer. You will first be given a pencil and a paper and then the task card containing the question. So, meron kayong scratch paper kagaya ng ginagawa ko pag nagmo-mock interview tayo sa review center. Binibigyan ko kayo ng scratch paper and then binibigyan ko rin kayo ng pencil. Yung iba naman, nagdadala ng sarili nilang notebook. Depende po sa inyo yan kung anong gusto nyo. Okay? So, yeah. Ano ang isusulat sa scratch paper? You're not gonna write the questions because the questions will be flashed on the screen all throughout task 2. Meaning, hindi siya mawawala hanggat sumasagot ka pa sa task 2. Okay? So, ang susulat mo lang po sa inyong mga scratch paper is yung mga keywords para hindi mo makalimutan kung ano yung gusto mong sagot. At hindi ka nakatingin lang sa scratch paper mo. Actually, hindi ka dapat nakatingin. Pwede ka lang mag-glance, pero balik agad kay examiner. Kailangan naka-eye contact kayo ni examiner. Okay? I'm so exhausted. You will be given 1 minute to prepare. How do I organize my answers? You can use the outlined questions to organize your answers. But you have to remember, mas okay na i-interrupt ka ni examiner pag nag-exceed ka na sa 2 minutes kesa kulangin yung sagot mo sa 2 minutes. So, hanggat hindi pa sinasabi ng examiner na tumigil ka, go lang ng go, okay? Now, kapag nasagot mo na lahat ng tanong at hindi pa rin tapos yung 2 minutes, okay lang naman magdagdag. You can add more answers to your questions and definitely you can expound more, but you have to make sure that it's related to the topic. Tell the examiner about the food you like most. What this food is, how often do you eat this, where do you buy this, why do you like this food so much? Okay, I'm gonna give you a sample answer. Pero kung gusto niyo mag-volunteer, pwede rin naman. Sino gusto mag-volunteer? Raise your hands. Huwag na kayong mahiya. Tayo-tayo lang naman dito. Okay. Walang gusto mag-volunteer. That's okay. I'll do it for you guys. Pero bukas sa interview, sana galingan nyo. Okay? I'm the kind of person who loves to try different kinds of cuisines. And I consider myself as a foodie. But top on the list of my favorite food is pasta. You can cook pasta in many different ways with many different sauces. And I am the type of person who is more inclined to to eat tomato-based pasta. So my favorite food is lasagna. I like this food because it's very meaty, saucy, and creamy at the same time. And I like how the cheese complements the flavors of the beef and the tomatoes. I would eat lasagna probably once a month because making my own lasagna would take me such a long time, and lasagna is quite expensive in the restaurants. That's why I think I only have the chance to eat it once a month or on special occasions. You can easily order lasagna from Italian restaurants, and there is one fast food chain in the Philippines named Greenwich. And in Greenwich, you can order lasagna anytime you want. Nowadays, there's food delivery, and you can have your lasagna in the convenience of your home. One of the memories associated with lasagna is that of my late mother. Before she left me, she taught me how to cook lasagna, and it's actually one of her specialties. So whenever I eat this dish, I would remember her. So 2 minutes na yon. Ganun lang guys, okay? Pwede kang mag-add ng kahit anong information na gusto mo, basta related pa rin siya sa favorite food mo. Okay? More sample questions. Describe an expensive activity that you enjoy doing occasionally. What are expensive activities? This is a very subjective question kasi baka maaring para sa iyo expensive to pero para sa iba hindi. So, depende na lang to. Pero to keep it safe, mag-isip kayo ng mga expensive activities such as yachting, playing golf, traveling abroad. Pero again, yung kaya nyong panindigan na sagot. Kasi baka mamaya wala kang masyadong masagot about yachting. This is what I'm talking about. Cruising in a yacht. Pwede rin naman traveling abroad. Pwede rin naman playing in the casino. Staying at a 5 or 7 star hotel. Ganyan, okay? Very relatable, and for everyone, it's expensive. Right? Or going to Maldives. Okay, so you have to be able to come up with those answers. Other task cards. Make sure that you have answered all the questions in details. Do not limit your answers to the questions, but do not digress. Make sure that you talk for about 2 minutes or more. The more you talk, the better assessment you will have. Remember the T3 rule. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you told them. So, meaning just everything that you have in your mind, keep telling them the examiner, okay? Avoid generic introduction to part two. Ito yung mga generic introduction. Today, I'm going to talk about or repeating the task card question, okay? Now, let's talk about task three or the two-way discussion. So, on task three, let's say our topic was about hotel accommodations. Expect that the questions are harder, okay? For example, IELTS questions. Okay, so your task two has something to do with an expensive activity, and that is traveling abroad or staying at a 5 or 7 star hotel. So, ang possible na itanong sa'yo sa task 3, what kind of accommodation do people usually prefer when they travel? Do people in your country prefer hotels or other types of lodging like guest houses or Airbnb? Have people's expectations of hotel service changed over the years? How do hotels try to attract more customers? What are the differences between budget hotels and luxury hotels? Do you think staying in a hotel is better than renting an apartment when traveling? Mga ganyan na yung mga high-level questions. Listen to the questions carefully. And dito mo nga magagamit yung tanong, can you please repeat the question? Kasi dito mo nakakailanganin talaga yon since questions need to be repeated in order for you to understand them better. Courtesy matters. Answer immediately as soon as the question was asked. Answer the questions directly and make sure that you have explained your answers in detail. Speak as if there is no tomorrow. You don't want to be asked so many questions. So make sure sa task 3, make sure that your answers are contentful. All right? At hindi bitin for the examiner. Okay. The most challenging aspect of impromptu speaking is in generating and organizing your thoughts. Sometimes, when asked a question, your mind may flood with countless possible answers, or other times you may draw a complete blank. The challenge will be greater if your topic is on a subject you know nothing about. As I said earlier, you have to ask for repetition, for clarity, and so that you can understand the question more. Now, if na-exhaust mo na lahat ng efforts mo at talagang hindi mo alam kung paano sagutin yung tanong, you can just be honest with the examiner and tell the examiner that you don't know, you're not confident to answer that specific topic. Okay? Because honesty is the best policy after all. Okay. Point, reason, example point, or prep method. Do you know what the prep method is? Prep method, point, reason, examples, and point. That's the prep method. Okay. It's the easiest method that you could use in task 3. We will show you an example here. Tell me something about a place where you want to spend your holiday vacation. So we have here, Malta is a wonderful holiday destination. That's your point. Sinagot mo yung sa tanong, direct to the point. Next, it is a country drenched in history and offers an abundance of activities for travelers. That's the reason why you chose Malta. Examples. This country has old churches, catacombs, and air raid shelters of Second World War. I would also like to take a dive at one of the many wrecks or take a dip in one of the many beautiful inlets and bays. Of course, these are just some of the things Malta has to offer. It really is a wonderful holiday destination. So, ganyan ang prep method. You give your point, you reason out, you give examples, and then you reiterate your point. Who do you think are more fashion conscious, men or women? What is the difference between the lies told by adults as compared to the lies told to children? How does globalization affect fashion? Why do you think parents nowadays prefer home study rather than sending their children to school or homeschooling? Okay, so again, I will attach the PDF files of the questions that will most probably come out during your interview. Don't worry, as soon as I upload this lecture, I will be attaching those links. Do you have any questions before we end our class, our lecture today? 9 a.m., we will have our coaching sessions tomorrow at the branch. You also have the chance to do your mock tests, such as listening, reading, and writing. So I hope to see you guys tomorrow if you don't have any more questions. Enjoy your lunch and enjoy your Monday. I hope you don't have any Monday blues. See you tomorrow for the one-on-one coaching. Bye.